What is up, everyone? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I'm back to talk to you guys about Warhammer 40k. In today's video, we are continuing the year-end reviews that I like to call 40k in 2020. We currently have 2 episodes out, and we still have 3 more to go. So if you guys didn't catch the first 2, I will be putting them at the end of this video so you can check them out. Or if it's easier for you guys, they will be in a playlist where you guys can check out all of the videos there. But again, you guys need to check out the first 2 videos that came out because they talk about the best and the worst of 40k in 2020. So as we all know, 2020 has been quite the interesting year. It's been filled with pretty crappy stuff almost back to back to back, with very few awesome things in between. However, that was kind of game-changing when it came to 40k because, as we know, the end of 8th edition came and the rise of 9th edition was here. And with 9th edition coming in roughly about the middle of the year, that only gave us 6 months to reassess the strength of the units that we've known and the new units that came out. One of those said units was a monster, and it came out in the Indomitus box set. And it goes by a name that I'm even afraid to utter out loud. It is none other than the Primaris Space Marine Eradicator Squad. So Primaris Space Marines are pretty brutal in the tabletop. They're Space Marines, so they're already good. And on top of that, GW just loves to give them everything and more to make them much more valuable for players to purchase. And the Eradicator is one of those units. Coming in at 6 power or 120 points, 3 Eradicators are going to be hitting the battle with a ton to offer. And that offer is one of death. These Eradicators, their stat line isn't that crazy. Movement 5, 3 up to hit, both in and out of combat. Toughness 4, Strength 5, 3 wounds, 2 attacks, 3 up save. But that's not where they shine. They shine with the new Melta weapon, the Melta rifle. A 24-inch Assault 1 Melta that comes with an interesting ability that each time that an attack is made with this weapon, as long as the enemy is within half range, the damage characteristic goes from being a d6 to a d6 plus 2. So that can potentially net 8 wounds, and there's 3 of them, so that is a crazy 24 wound potential that this 3-man unit can put out. But no, they're Space Marines, so it has to keep on getting better. They have a rule called Total Obliteration, and I've never seen a rule more precisely worded than this one. So this is what this does. In your shooting phase, each time this unit selects a unit to shoot at, as long as it didn't advance, it can unleash Total Obliteration. What this means is that you select one enemy unit, and all models, as long as they target that unit, and that's all it is, as long as they're able to target that unit, they can shoot twice this phase. That is overpowered. That is crazy. Remember when I said they can do 24 wounds? Not with Total Obliteration. There's a potential of doing 48 wounds for this 120 point unit. That's crazy. That's scary. And it's not even with a weak gun. Like I said, it's a Melta rifle. Strength 8. Minus 4 AP. That is how you crack open tanks. That is how you quickly see 3 units of these 3 guys in every Space Marine list. They're that good. And they're really scary. Put these against a heavily armored list, and your vehicles will be turning to slag. And not just that, but think of all the things that Space Marines have going for them. Oh, they're about to get shot off the board? Use transhuman physiology. Now they're that much more durable. And then plop a captain or chapter master right next to them. Now that 3-up BS has just gotten better with rerolls. It is insane how powerful this unit is. However, I'm putting it at number 2 on my list, because I still think there's one unit that's way better than this that came out in 2020. A tie! That's right, I think the number 1 unit is actually a tie between 2 characters. One is none other than the ancient star gods of old, the Catan Shards, tied with the Prophet of the Wall, Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka. And the reason why I believe these two are the best unit is because of a new rule that came out with Ghazghkull. And that is the fact that there is a wound cap on these models. At any turn, they cannot lose more than 4 wounds. So that automatically makes these 2 units that much more of a threat, because you know you have to shoot at them to kill them. But after taking 4 wounds, anything else that goes through them is completely ignored. Obviously these guys have more than 4 wounds, so you're going to be seeing them on the tabletop till at least turn 3, turn 4, maybe even the whole game, because if you're unable to take these guys down, they're going to be able to regenerate those wounds, at least with the Catan. So it's always going to be a constant threat. You're always going to be having this guy trying to move closer to the enemy, because why stay back? Tie up enemies in combat. You know they're not going to be able to kill you. Find the strongest, most scary thing in your opponent's field and target it with this character. Be it Ghazghkull or a Catan, there's nothing that can stop them, at least for the first few turns. You can tie them up in combat, but know that any damage that supersedes 4 is just going to get ignored. So it's not even worth it to roll dice at that point. If your army is unable to handle something like this, your battle line is just going to fall, and you're probably going to be losing the game at that point. These guys are so strong, so scary, and they should be, because in the lore, they are essentially the pinnacle of might in each other's faction lore. Ghazghkull was chosen by Gork and Mork, the 2 entities in the warp, the 2 orc gods, and because of that, like, the dude cannot die. He was beheaded by Ragnar. Well, guess what? Put my head back on my shoulders and sew me up, because I'm going for round 2. I didn't hear no bell. So yeah, it's crazy how Ghazghkull can just come back from the dead. And Catan, they're literally star gods, well, as close to gods as possible. They're really powerful vampiric pieces of energy that would like eat stars and whatnot, and they evolved to become really powerful entities. You've got the Outsider, the Nightbringer, the Deceiver, the Burning One, and the newly unleashed Void Dragon. So, depending on what flavor of Catan you want to use on the battlefield, that will kind of mix the bag a little bit. If you want to be a little bit more tricky in shenanigans, bring the Deceiver. If you want to go up against heavy tanks and armor, the Void Dragon is better for that. And if you just want outright destruction, the Nightbringer is the one you want to be wielding. But regardless, all these 3 guys have that cap on wounds. So remember my number 2 pick, these Eradicators, who can potentially do 48 damage. Let's say they all roll perfect, they all hit, they all wound, and they all do 48 damage. Both of these units are only taking 4 wounds max, which when you look at it, that is just a small fraction of the damage they've done. And now all those extra wounds that they would have done to wipe out like a blob of enemies and whatnot, it's gone. All that firepower was focused on these guys, and for what? Only 4 wounds? So that is why I believe they're way better than the Eradicators. Obviously, if you know tactics and whatnot, you don't want to be shooting at these guys with your Eradicators, because your Eradicators are better off doing other damage to other units. So in that type of tactic-wise strategy, yeah, you want to target these enemies maybe with like blobs of like guardsmen, ripper swarms, anything really to just tie them up. That way these monsters on the battlefield can continue to rot to destruction. But anyway, that's all I got for today. Let me know what you guys think about these two choices for the strongest units in Warhammer 40k for the year of 2020. Obviously there was much more that came out that could potentially rival these two. I mean, we got the freaking Silent King that also came out this year. But in my opinion, Silent King can't do as much damage as Eradicators. And just that 4 wound cap per turn thing that the Catan and Gascoigne has, it's too good. I'm honestly surprised that Mortarion, a demon Primarch, does not have this, because it fits him so well. But anyway, that's all I got for today. Let me know your guys' choices for the strongest units in 40k. And be sure to stay subscribed, because we've got 2 more parts to this epic yearly end review of all things Warhammer 40k in 2020. So again, thanks you for listening. Hit that like button if you agree with anything I had to say, and I'll catch you in the next one. This has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll see you then. Peace.